Insectivorous plants. One of the rarest and most enigmatic species of plants in the world is that of insectivorous plants that get their nutrients by trapping and consuming insects. Insectivorous plants are autotrophic in nature and grow in waterlogged swampy soils which are deficient in nitrogenous compounds. Thus, these plants do not get their nitrogen requirements from the soil, but supplement the supply of nitrogenous food by capturing and digesting insects. Thus, the chief mode of nutrition in these plants is photosynthetic, and the insectivorous habit is only an adaptation to the environment in which they live. These plants develop a great variety of devices to capture insects. There are over 450 species of insectivorous plants in the world. Leaves of some insectivorous plants like Nepenthes, Sarracenia, Cephalitis are modified into pitchers to trap insects. In Nepenthes, the lamina is modified into a pitcher-like structure. The distal part of the lamina forms a lid which covers the mouth of the pitcher. The lower part of the petiole becomes flattened and leaf-like, whereas the upper part is coiled like a tendril and holds the pitcher in a vertical position. A large number of glands are present on the upper half of the inner wall of the pitcher. These sessile glands are of epidermal origin and secrete proteolytic enzymes. On the rim of the pitcher, downwardly and inwardly directed hairs are present, which do not allow insects to go out once they enter the pitcher. Insects are attracted by the color of the pitcher and the sweet secretions of the glands. As the insect enters the pitcher, it slips downwards and is drowned in the fluid present in the basal part of the pitcher. This fluid contains water and digestive juices which devour the body of the insect. The digested food is then absorbed by the pitcher. In case of Sarracenia, the pitcher is trumpet-shaped. It is a modification of the winged petiole and the lamina forms the lid. Here enzymes are not secreted as in case of Nepenthes. Insects captured by the pitcher are decomposed by the action of bacteria contained in the water present in the pitcher. Cephalitis follicularis, the Australian pitcher plant, is confined to the region of King George's Sound in West Australia and grows in marshes. The rhizome produces a rosette of leaves annually. The lower leaves of the rosette form pitchers and the upper are flat and green. The pitchers resemble those of Nepenthes or Sarracenia. Venus flytrap, also known as Dionea, is a herb with a rosette of leaves modified into flytraps. The broadly flattened petiole is constricted to the midrib at its junction with the lamina. The roundish lamina is divided into two, almost exactly similar halves separated by the midrib. The two halves of the lamina, which are like toothed jaw, can move up and down along the midrib. They close together with a snap and the two hairs. Sets of teeth are interlocked to prevent the escape of insects. On the inner side, in the center of each upper surface of each half, there are 3 trigger hairs which project outwards. If an insect comes in contact with a trigger hair, the stimulus moves to the midrib, which functions like a hinge, closing the leaf trap. When the trapped insect is digested and absorbed, the trap opens again. Water flea trap is a submerged rootless aquatic which bears walls of leaves and sends only its flowers above the surface of water. The leaves resemble those of Dionaea with a lower stalk and an upper blade in two halves, working in the same way to catch insects. Sundew, also known as Drosera, is a herb which grows in waterlogged soil. It has a rosette of 6 to 12 radical leaves which lie prostrate on the ground. Each leaf has a long narrow stalk which is expanded into a more or less circular blade. The edges and the surface of the blade bear numerous bright red colored club-shaped hairs known as tentacles. Each tentacle is a stalked mucilage secreting gland. The tip of the gland secretes a sticky juice which shines like a dewdrop in bright sunlight. Hence, the plant derives its popular name, sundew. The glands act as capturing, digesting and absorbing organs. Insects are attracted by the color, glittering secretion and odor of the gland. When an unwary insect alights on the leaf, it is helped by the viscid secretion of the glands. As the glands are sensitive to touch, they bend over the prey. The secretion of glands contains proteolytic enzymes that digest the proteins of the prey, which are absorbed by the plant. Then the tentacles return to their original position. The non-digestible parts of the insect are left exposed and are blown away. Bladderwort, also known as Utricularia, is a rootless floating aquatic herb with slender straggling branches and very much dissected leaves. Some leaf segments are modified into bladder-like structures. The bladder is a stalked pear-shaped structure opening at the distal end. The opening has a trapdoor consisting of stiff tapering bristles which can open only inwards. The trapdoor allows minute water flies to pass in, but they cannot come out. Once trapped, the flies die in the bladder. After they are decomposed, the nitrogenous substances are absorbed through the hairs on the inner wall of the bladder. Butterwort, also known as pinguicula, is a herb with a rosette of large fleshy and yellowish leaves. The edges of the leaves are slightly curled upwards, forming a kind of shallow trough. The leaf has two types of glands, stalked and sessile. The stalk gland has a large basal cell, a columnar cell and a head of 2 to 8 cells which produces mucous material. The sessile gland has a 2 to 8 celled head which secretes proteolytic enzymes. Large drops of mucilage secreted by the stalked glands help in the capture of insects. After the capture of the insect, the sessile glands are stimulated and secrete enzymes, acid phosphatase, esterase and ribonuclease which help in the digestion of the insect. These glands also absorb the digested food. The species of insectivorous plants is thus one of its kind and hence also one of the most fascinating ones existing on the planet today.